Ryan, what is one word that your team would use to best describe you?
I think the word that they would probably resonate, I would hope, the most is empathetic. I tried to bring a blend of understanding and empathy with strategy, focus, KPIs to the mix. And I think that's super important to make sure that you're doing both.
Absolutely. I think that's like one of the best signs as a leader, right? That you not only can understand, you can empathize, but you can also help them move forward. So
exactly.
Love that.
Yeah.
When you think about the intersection of sports and entertainment and commerce in terms of your role, how do you feel like Rakuten really creates that experience with consumers?
I would say probably one of the foundational ways is for us to find that right intersection that taps into fandom in an authentic way. I think, sometimes brands try to manufacture relevance. And for us, I think when you appeal to that fandom and you find that right intersection, it makes it a lot easier for me to do my job, but for the brand to show up in meaningful ways to the fan that they feel like you're part of their experience and you're not just, a brand that's slapped their logo on a dashboard or on an LED, but somebody who's there and they can, we try to make sure that when you're seeing Rakuten show up, you can easily, as a fan, answer the question of why they're there. Well, why were they partnered with the 49ers or why are they partnered with the Warriors? And we want them to really understand that value and what that means to them as a fan.
I think fandom is so powerful, right? When you just think of, why we're here too, celebrating this whole week. But I think when brands are truly able to unlock fandom in a way that really helps to create that narrative and that cohesion within their brand, it, can really move mountains. So love that.
Absolutely.
Can you share an example where aligning values made a partnership more valuable?
Yeah, I think all partnerships start with the core values. I think, when you come into a partnership, if your core values don't align, there's never going to be the right synergy that you need for both the partners to be successful. So I think it's understanding what your company's core values are, and as you're exploring that partnership, making sure that you're asking the right appropriate questions of the team or of the league or whatnot, of what do they stand for and how do they like to show up on a daily basis, and is there alignment? And so Rakuten in Japanese means optimism, and so we like to think about uplifting those that are maybe underrated or underrepresented, or giving those opportunities to the next generation. And so that's really important to us as a brand. And so as we looked at partnerships with the Warriors and the 49ers, we wanted to really make sure that those things aligned, whether it's in education or finding those right opportunities, giving back to the communities, making sure that that is a meaningful part of our partnership, is really where it starts.
Yeah, I think, being aligned in core values is just so important. And I think, again, to the fandom, to being able to align what those key values are to a brand and to a partnership, just elevate the success of that so much more. So it's great to hear that's always kind of top of mind for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's a brand's duty to help build that equity, build that legacy with the team that kind of lasts far beyond the contract terms, and making sure that the fan, will have that great sentiment of your brand forever, and not just for a moment in time.
Exactly. No, I love that. What energizes you the most about your work right now?
What energizes me the most? We have a unique challenge on Rakuten of when we started this journey in the sports world in the U.S., it was in large part to build brand awareness. Rakuten had next to no awareness in the U.S., very powerful company in Japan. But here in the U.S., where they were trying to set the stage, they came into the market, I think, under 5% brand awareness.
Wow.
They acquired a company called Ebates, which was in the cashback performance marketing space. And Ebates at the time, 70 to 80% brand awareness, fairly well known. One of the original players in cashback. And Rakuten had to find a way to kind of build that brand awareness. And so we started with pretty powerful partnerships that were helping us grow that brand, with the jersey badge on the Warriors, the partnership with Stephen Curry and leaning into his equity that a globally known athlete. And so for us at that moment in time, it was the absolute right move. Today, 9-10 years later, we have different challenges. And so I think what is the most energizing to me is exploring our existing partnerships and finding those ways that we can tackle our existing challenges. And the challenges have moved from brand awareness to creating, more around brand education and finding those acquisition funnels with the teams. Kind of what I like to say is exercising the muscles that may not be as exercised when you think about the teams and where partnerships usually lean into brand awareness, but it's really exploring those relationships that can dive further into acquisition, retention, loyalty. And that's really, for me, what's exciting right now is finding those intersections for us with our partners.
Yeah, and I think I was just having this conversation with someone else earlier, but the interesting thing here is, right, everyone's on a journey to be able to not only acquire customers, but then retain them and build that lifelong brand loyalty. Mm-hmm. And it sounds very easy to accomplish, right? But it isn't. And so I think a key piece to that is, aligning those values, making sure these partnerships are making sense, and you're really able to deliver and elevate the fandom to those customers and, the end consumers at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we have to look at our partnerships as a 365 approach. We don't look at seasons. We don't look at game by game. We really look at moments and really thinking about what are those key moments in that fan's journey and how do we continue to resonate with them throughout the year. So it could be anything from the draft to training camp to a key matchup between our team and another team. It could be the playoffs, but it's really thinking about what that fan is experiencing and how we can play a part of that fan's life at that moment.
And be along for the ride, right?
Be along for the ride, right? I think, it's really making sure that we are genuinely thought of as something that's additive, mm-hmm. not forced.
Yeah, I love that. Mm-hmm. What's one area you're excited to see kind of develop over the next few years?
I think for me, it's really to see where sports marketing goes. I think the idea of having these vanity sponsorships were really just about who can be the loudest is going to really give way to these performance-driven partnerships where the teams and the brands are getting more savvy in how they work together, how they find those connections to really showcase the value of the partnership. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of pressure in today's world on cost of acquisition and retaining your customers, mm-hmm. and a lot more justification that CMOs and executives have to do on how to unlock those dollars within this channel. And so I think it's going to be imperative for the teams and the brands to figure out those ways of showing that increased value.
Yeah.
And to me, that's exciting because I think it's an open opportunity to think differently and to really get beyond impressions and beyond showing up in that moment, but really how are we working together to grow our brands up in the same time?
Yeah, we're in a crazy part of kind of the world and the evolution of technology, right? Where mm-hmm. not only do we understand this from the human level, but we understand this from the data level, right? Mm-hmm. And to be able to put those pieces together to really make what a winning formula will look like. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think you hit it. When fans look back on Rakuten's role in sports and entertainment, what is one key thing that you really hope that they remember?
My goal, if we're doing a good job, is really for that fan to understand how we enhance their fandom with the team or the league that they supported. If they're not sure what role we played, then we probably haven't done a good enough job. So we lean into our core value proposition of cashback, where you can earn cash back on your everyday shopping, but also we lean into the team where you can earn cash back with the team store, with the concessions, and different ways that we kind of not only help you in your wallet, but also how we're making a difference in your community. Mm-hmm. And so as a fan thinks back about us when we, 5 years, 10 years, either while we're still partnered or post-partnership, I want to make sure that they think about that cool item they got as a gift with purchase, or how we help them create a cashback account they're still using today, mm-hmm. Or the difference we made in their community and perhaps building that basketball court for that community foundation, the school that we helped put together. So
And I think that outreach goes so far, right? Because it goes so much beyond just the in the moment, the sports journey, but also to understand kind of as a brand and what you're bringing to the world, to the communities is so important in making kind of that lifelong impact on.
Yeah, it's really that creating that legacy between your brand and the partnership.
Love it.